Alright, let's talk about a job that's a little different from the ones I usually get my hands dirty with. You won't find this one at the bottom of a sewer or on top of a wind turbine. But it's just as critical. We're talking about the folks who fly the F-35 Lightning II. Now you might have heard about this plane, it's been on the news, in movies, and it's cost a whole lot of money. But what is it really? Simply put, it's one of the most advanced, most capable, most feared fighter jets ever built. It's the kind of tool that changes the whole game, not just for the pilot in the cockpit, but for every soldier, sailor, marine on the ground below. Imagine a world where the other guy can't see you coming. That's the promise of the F-35. It's not just another fighter jet designed to get into a dogfight, though it can certainly hold its own. Designed to be a quarterback in the sky, a ghost that gathers information, shares it with everyone on its team, and gives our forces an unfair advantage before the fight begins. It's the tip of the spear, the first one in, designed to clear a path and make the battlefield safer for everyone else. It's a dirty job, being the first through the door, and this is the tool built to do it. So, why is there so much fuss about one airplane? Because in modern warfare, it's not always about having the fastest jet, or the one with the most missiles. It's about knowing what the enemy is doing before they know you're even there. The F-35 is a master of this. It represents a massive leap in military technology, a shift in how battles are fought and won. If you think of the F-35 as just a plane, you're missing the big picture. It's probably more accurate to call it a flying supercomputer that just happens to have wings and a massive engine strapped to it. Every square inch of this aircraft is covered in sensors, antennas, processors. They gather a mind-boggling amount of information from the world around it, ground, air, and even from space, and put it all together into one clear, simple picture for the pilot. Think about what a pilot in an older jet had to do. They were constantly flipping switches, reading gauges, and trying to mentally piece together information from their radar, their radio, and what they could see out the window. It was a tough, mentally draining job. The F-35 changes all that. It takes all that raw data, enemy planes, ground threats, friendly forces, and fuses it together. The pilot doesn't see a bunch of confusing blips on a screen. They see a single unified map of the battlefield with threats and allies clearly labeled. It's like going from trying to read a dozen different maps at once to using a simple GPS that tells you everything you need to know. This sensor fusion, as the engineers call it, is the secret sauce. The jet has a powerful radar, an advanced camera system that can see in the dark, and a network of sensors that can detect electronic signals from miles away. But instead of the pilot having to manage all those systems individually, the plane's computer does the heavy lifting. It's constantly sifting through the noise, identifying what's important, and presenting it in a way that's easy to understand. This frees up the pilot to focus on the mission, on making the right decisions at the right time, rather than wrestling with the technology. It's a fundamental shift in the pilot's job description. And this information isn't just for the pilot. The F-35 is designed to be the ultimate team player. When people talk about the F-35, one word always comes up: stealth. But what does that really mean? It doesn't mean the plane is invisible like in a comic book. You can still see it with your own eyes if it flies overhead. Stealth is all about tricking radar. Think of radar as a searchlight. It sends out a beam of energy. When that beam hits a normal plane, it bounces back to the radar dish and shows up as a clear blip on the screen. The F-35 is designed to do the exact opposite. Shape, materials, special coating, all engineered to scatter or absorb radar energy instead of reflecting it. The design is deliberate and strange-looking for a reason. Sharp angles, flat surfaces. These deflect radar waves away from the source like a weird mirror. No smooth rounded curves like a passenger plane, because curves bounce radar signals straight back. Even the things you don't see are designed for stealth. Weapons are carried inside internal bays, not hung on wing pylons where they'd create big radar returns. The engine nozzle is specially shaped to reduce its heat signature, making it harder for heat-seeking missiles to lock on. On an enemy radar, a full-size F-35 might look like a golf ball, or not appear at all. That gives the pilot an incredible advantage. They can fly deep into enemy territory, well past air defenses that would down a conventional aircraft in seconds. That lets the F-35 pilot control the engagement, choose when to fight, where to fight, how to fight, or don't fight, slip past unnoticed. That survivability helps the pilot and their multi-million-dollar jet get the job done and come home safely. We've talked about the F-35 as a flying computer, but let's dig into what that really means for the person in the hot seat. The pilot's helmet alone costs about $400,000. It's not just a helmet, it's the pilot's command center. A display is projected onto the visor showing critical information: airspeed, altitude, targeting data, no matter which way they are looking. They don't have to look down at the dashboard anymore. The information is always right in their line of sight. The helmet links to 6 cameras in the jet's skin, the Distributed Aperture System, or DAS. Those cameras give a full 360-degree view. When the pilot looks down at their feet, they see the ground beneath the plane. They can literally look through the aircraft. No blind spots. They can spot an enemy plane sneaking up from below or behind just by turning their head. The DAS constantly scans for threats it can detect and track incoming missiles day or night. As soon as a missile is launched, the system alerts the pilot, shows the missile's origin on the helmet display, and can suggest the best way to evade it. A massive leap in survivability. In older jets, a pilot might not know a missile was coming until almost too late. In the F-35, the plane is always watching the pilot's back. All this info is also on a single massive panoramic touchscreen display. Gone are cluttered cockpits with hundreds of buttons, switches, and dials. The cockpit looks like sci-fi, a clean, customizable interface. The pilot uses the screen to manage weapons, navigate, communicate like using a giant tablet. That simplification cuts workload, letting the pilot focus on tactics and decision-making, making the complex simple so the pilot can be more effective. You might hear people talking about the F-35, but it's not just one plane. It's actually a family of 3 different versions, or, variants, all designed to do slightly different jobs for different branches of the military. Think of it like a truck model that comes in a standard version, a heavy-duty version, an off-road version. They look similar, but they're built for different tasks. This was the plan. One core design, adaptable for everyone. First up is the F-35A, the conventional version for the USAF and allies. It takes off and lands on standard paved runways. It's the simplest and lightest, with unique features. For instance, it's the only variant with an internal cannon. This is the workhorse for air forces worldwide. Next, the F-35B, and this is where things get interesting. B stands for Short Takeoff and Vertical Landing, STOVL. Built for the US Marine Corps and the British Royal Navy, it does that with a lift fan and a swiveling engine nozzle. That lets the F-35B operate from amphibious assault ships or rough makeshift airfields near the front. Finally, the F-35CC stands for Carrier, built for the US Navy. Carrier takeoffs and arrested landings are brutal, and the F-35C is made for them. It has a much larger wing and stronger landing gear. The bigger wing lets it fly slower and steadier on approach, and carry more fuel for longer range. This is the long-range striker for carrier strike groups, projecting power across the oceans. 3 aircraft, 1 family, each optimized for their specific mission while sharing the advanced capabilities that make the F-35 revolutionary. The F-35 isn't just an American project, it's a global one. From the very beginning, the program was designed as a partnership between the United States and some of its closest allies. This was a strategic move. By getting other countries to invest in development, the United States shared the massive cost. More importantly, it ensured key partners would be flying the same advanced aircraft. When everyone uses the same playbook and equipment, working together gets a whole lot easier, whether for joint training exercises or, if necessary, real combat operations. The United Kingdom was the only Level 1 partner. Italy, Netherlands, Australia, Canada, Denmark, Norway. Their industries didn't just buy the plane, they helped build it. Parts are manufactured all over the world. Tail in Australia, components in the Netherlands. This global supply chain ties these nations' defense futures together. Beyond original partners, more nations are buying through foreign military sales. Japan, South Korea. In the Middle East, Israel was the first after the US to use the F-35 in combat. They've been vocal about its capabilities. Switzerland, Germany, Finland. Each new customer lowers the cost per plane for everyone. Widespread adoption creates a powerful effect. It builds a global network of nations operating the most advanced fighter. In a crisis, they can form a coalition where tech is perfectly compatible. It's building a team for the 21st century. Now it would be wrong to talk about the F-35 without mentioning the elephant in the room: the cost. This is, by a long shot, the most expensive weapons program in human history. The development of the jet has been a long, complicated road, filled with delays, technical glitches, massive cost overruns. When the program started, the idea was to build an affordable stealth jet for everyone. But as the technology got more and more complex, the price tag just kept climbing. This has led to a lot of criticism, with many people asking if the plane is really worth the taxpayer money being spent on it. The early years of the F-35 program were particularly rough. There were problems with the software, the brains of the plane, millions of lines of code. There were issues with the stealth coating, difficult to maintain. The helmet, with its futuristic display, had bugs that needed ironing out. Each of these problems caused delays and drove up the cost, creating headlines that made it seem like a complete disaster. Another major challenge has been maintenance. This isn't a plane you can fix with a wrench and duct tape. The plane's logistics and diagnostic system, ALICE, was supposed to automatically diagnose problems and order parts, but ALICE was plagued with issues, often giving false reports and being slow and cumbersome to use. That meant planes were sometimes grounded, waiting for parts, hurting readiness. Work has gone into fixing and replacing the system, but it's been a long, frustrating process. Despite these headaches, put things in perspective. The cost of an individual F-35A has come down significantly as production ramped up. The price is now comparable to fourth-generation fighters, or even less than some brand-new fourth-generation fighters, many of which lack stealth. Many early technical problems have been solved. The jet is being produced at a high rate and serving in squadrons worldwide. So, what does the future hold for the F-35? Well, in many ways, the future is already here. With over 1,000 jets delivered and production in full swing, the F-35 is no longer a future concept. It's the backbone of air power for the United States and its allies, and it will be for the next 40 to 50 years. The focus now is shifting from just building the planes to continuously upgrading them, making sure they stay ahead of any potential threats. This isn't like buying a car that stays the same until you trade it in. The F-35 is designed to evolve. The plan is to roll out a series of software and hardware upgrades over the life of the jet, known as block upgrades. More powerful processors, improved sensors, the ability to carry new types of weapons, more advanced electronic warfare capabilities. For example, an upcoming upgrade, known as Block 4, is a massive undertaking core computer, radar, sensor systems. This will allow it to detect and track more difficult targets and counter the next generation of enemy air defenses that are currently being developed. Looking even further ahead, the F-35 is seen as the centerpiece of a future system of systems. The idea is that the F-35 won't fly alone. It will act as the command and control hub for a team of unmanned aircraft, or loyal wingman drones. Scout for threats, jam enemy radar, carry extra weapons, all while the pilot stays back in the safer, stealthier F-35. This will multiply the effectiveness of a single pilot and jet, creating a much more resilient and lethal fighting force. Ultimately, the story of the F-35 is a story of ambition. For the foreseeable future, the F-35 ensures that America and its allies will continue to own the skies. Someone's got to do it.